JP, same mistakes repeated by Mumbai as they did against Delhi?
Well, it's tough to say that it's the same exact mistakes, and I think the reason why I say that is if you think back to the previous game against Delhi, where they probably had a pretty decent power play, but then lost their way through the middle, where this time around they struggled even in the power play, and couldn't quite find their way in the middle overs, even though they didn't lose many wickets. The struggle was, you got to give credit where credit is due. And the Punjab Kings actually restricted them pretty well. They were tight in their lines and links. They bowled really well on a tough wicket. And it was interesting listening to Rohit speak in the post-match presentation. He was talking about that it wasn't as difficult of a wicket than we thought it would be from a batting perspective. And that was an interesting comment. And it's interesting also, on top of that, is, KL Rahul winning the toss and actually electing to bowl first, which was a big surprise on a wicket that it's going to deteriorate and become difficult to bat. But again, they did exceptionally well with the ball, which gave them the best chance to really get those runs. 130 was always going to be a tough one to defend. I think if you're getting anywhere between 155 and 160 on a wicket like that, you become quite a formidable team to defend. So, yeah, it's been a tough road or a tough couple of games for Mumbai. But again, I say this with confidence, knowing the depth and the quality of that side. They're definitely going to be back. But I want to say this, Anis. Sahil, are you a Mumbai fan?
No, I actually don't support Mumbai. I don't.
Who supports Mumbai on the call?
Pari.
Okay. It's good to see you having a smile, Pari, even though your team didn't do well today. And I'm hoping you're still going to be supporting Mumbai throughout, no matter what the result, because that's a true fan, right?
Yeah, definitely. I've been following Mumbai since like the first IPL, and I remember I was so small that time when IPL started, and like to see them like get so many wins throughout the year, and they always have some really, like, as you call it, nail-biting matches to watch them play, and it's always exciting. And like IPL is like something that me and my dad do. It's like a dad and daughter thing. Like every evening at like 6 o'clock we tune in, and there's those 2-3 hours this time where we sit and like catch up, and like even if we lose the match, it's okay, because we realize it's a game at the end of the day, and like, I mean, it's entertainment and it's fun.
Okay, awesome, man. But Anisa, I'm wondering why Sahil is so sad then, if he's not a Mumbai fan.
I have no idea. Sahil, probably you can answer this question, Sahil.
I'm not sad or either happy, because I mean, I had predicted Mumbai would win today, so I'm very upset that my prediction was wrong. So I mean, I was by today's victory. That's all. Yeah, I would like to ask your compatriot Quinton de Kock, what's been going wrong for him since he's been playing this year's IPL? He's not had a great tournament. Yeah. So what's going wrong? What do you think about it?
It's been a tough year, to be honest. When I say tough year, I mean the South African season. I mean, he's had a tough time going. He's obviously been in the leadership for a while. And I'm talking about South Africa now. He's captain for a while, which didn't quite go according to plan. Which one could argue that has had an effect on his actual performance. But I think now that he's relinquished the captaincy and so forth, I think his main focus now is obviously his skill, which is batting. I mean, we know that he's one of the best keepers in the world, but he's obviously wanting to perform with the bat. So again, I'm very confident that he's gonna bounce back. And I think the important thing to note is Mumbai have played. Am I right in saying have played all their games in Chennai now?
Yep.
Yeah. Which is a difficult surface, right? So for a westernized cricketer, sometimes it can be tough to adapt to surfaces like that. If you think about where South Africa have played in the last year, even through the pandemic, it's been generally South Africa. So you don't get a lot of opportunity to really hone your skill on that kind of surface. And, when you think of Mumbai and you think of the surface in Mumbai, the Wankhede, it's a really good batting track generally. So, they shape their team and pick their players according to their home conditions a lot of the time. And unfortunately, Quinton just hasn't found his way on that surface. But I think with the move in leaving Chennai, I think he's going to find the surfaces a lot more easier to play on, which I'm sure we'll see some good scores from him.
What did we do wrong in last three games? This game it was okay. That's completely we have done well. And the last three games where we lagged.
So, it's interesting listening to Kale speak at the post-match. He spoke about how from a squad perspective, they're a new squad. They're still building. And if you look at a team like Mumbai, they very much mature in who they pick and who've been playing for them over the last few years. There's a consistency in their selection. So I think Punjab now have realized that there needs to be some consistency in terms of their core group, and that is going to create some consistency in their performances as well. And I think they've relied on KL Rahul to really lead their squad now. They've got a good management structure. So those kind of things need to be implemented and being consistent to create a team to really perform well. And we've seen now the great reference for the IPL and the most accomplished environment and team within the IPL has been the Mumbai Indians. And that is the specific reasons why. So a lot of teams now are going to be looking to be consistent in their team selections and squad selections. And I think that's going to bode well for them. And Kings is no different. They need to build a core group and who they're going to solidify their team around, and then sort of fill gaps where they think they need certain type of players, and also against the conditions they're going to be facing, which we'll see a lot more consistent performances from them.
Would you say that Gale should be dropped and Malan should be in? Because I don't think that Gale should be dropped. What are your thoughts?
Did you ask if Gale should be dropped or KL?
Yes. Gale. Gale.
No, I don't necessarily think so. He's a seasoned campaigner when it comes to the T20 format, and so I think what could be considered is and maybe the conditions that they're currently playing on could be an argument to play Malan, is where it's not just free flowing. In terms of it coming on nicely to the bat, that probably somebody like a Chris Gale will enjoy. And this is an opportunity maybe to play David Malan. He's obviously, I think he's still ranked number 1 T20 international batter in the world. Yes. So he's obviously got a formidable record. But again, with saying that, your Chris Gale puts in a performance today to get Punjab over the line. I mean, there were some iffy moments there when particularly the off spinner was bowling towards him, Jayant Yadav. Because that's always the susceptible sort of delivery that, whenever Chris Gale is batting, there's always an off spinner bowling. I've certainly bowled against him from time to time as well. So that's the argument you could have. So in terms of games to come for Punjab, I think that could be a consideration.
Actually wanted to ask JP, Mumbai has been such a great team, but what do you think they could change up a bit, because the last few games have not been as successful for them? And do you think that probably the change in the batting lineup today, like with Ishan coming before than usually when he comes mid-order, did that kind of have an effect on the way that they were going to score runs? Or is there a strategy that they could use or something that they could change to make sure that they win the games coming ahead?
So yeah, just to comment firstly on that Ishan Kishan and Surya Kumar Yadav change. So listening again to Rohit Sharma speak in the post-match, he was speaking about it being a strategic move where they wanted somebody, particularly on, remember you got to think about the surfaces that they're playing on. It's very spin friendly. They wanted somebody in the middle to be able to play spin really well. So obviously they see Surya Kumar Yadav as one of the best players of spin in their side, along with somebody like Rohit Sharma, who did reasonably well today. So that's probably as he said, that's the reasoning for the change, where Ishan Kishan, in many ways probably prefers the ball coming on and also can be dominant in that power play, but unfortunately didn't quite work out according to plan. And as he mentioned as well, sometimes when you make a strategic move, you can't only suggest it is the right move according to the result of it. You know, you got to, I mentioned a couple of days ago, and Anis will remember, you got to question whether there was good thinking behind the idea, and then also your reflection is thinking, and then execution. So those are the conversations that they will obviously have after the game. In terms of changes, I'm very wary of making knee-jerk changes in terms of just the results. So remember, it's back-to-back losses. Fair enough. Now, you know, you've picked particularly these group of players that have been successful over a period of time, and you've got to allow them the grace and opportunity to find form again for a period of 4 to 5 games, I would suggest. So I think it's a little bit early to make drastic changes. I think 1 or 2 years, according to the conditions, might be warranted, and that's something that they will look at now, possibly leaving Chennai. Does they need a change according to the conditions? But I'd be very wary, and I don't think they're a team that would make any drastic changes. So I don't think it's needed right now.